Okay? I was under the impression you weren't going to bring this up because nobody here had a problem with that tweet.
No, clearly somebody.
No, they did not have. Nobody.
Let's go, Jen.
Welcome to the Dark Times channel. And so as they say, timing is everything. And as you all remember, Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe had a major blow up a few weeks ago.
Wait a minute. This is just straight hate by a guy who's jealous that he is still playing at a high level at 45 when you had to stop at 35.
I did what I did. You make it seem like I was a bum. I'm in the effing Hall of Fame.
Okay,
I got three Super Bowls.
So what?
So what?
He's way better than you were.
I'm better than you.
Better.
What I got to see what you do? Take a personal shot at me.
I didn't take a personal shot at you.
Wait a minute.
Put your glasses back on.
In which you saw both Shannon Sharpe and Skip Bayless both kind of come out of character. And trust me when I tell you, had that incident not happened, I believe there would have been a complete different tone with Shannon. I believe Shannon Sharpe would have did the show yesterday, and more than likely he would have had Skip's back. Despite different celebrities and retired football players, basketball players, and basically everybody was coming at Skip after his tweets. And so be that as it may, Shannon Sharpe saw it as an opportunity to kind of buck at Skip a little bit. And Shannon didn't even buck that hard, but you could tell they caught Skip off guard because it wasn't what they discussed in the pre-production meeting. I'm gonna go ahead and let the full audio play and then I'll come back and chime in.
There's been a lot of speculation of why I wasn't on air yesterday, and I won't get into speculation or conjecture, innuendo, but I will say this. Watching that game on Monday night, what happened to Damar Hamlin struck me a little different. As a brotherhood in the NFL, when injuries happen, when we know injuries are a part of the game, I've seen guys suffer ACLs and Achilles tear, but I've never seen anybody have to be revived and fight for their life on the field. So it struck me a little differently because I remember seeing my brother paralyzed on the field temporarily, and he was able to regain focus. Skip tweeted something, and although I disagree with the tweet, and hopefully Skip would take it down, but I didn't want it.
Well, time out. I'm not going to take it down because I stand by what I tweeted.
Skip, let me finish.
All right, okay.
Go ahead.
No, you go.
Go ahead, let's go, Jen.
Okay.
I mean, I cannot even get through a monologue without you interrupting me.
Well,
you could have came back, Skip.
Well, I thought,
Skip, just let.
I didn't know you were going to bring up.
No, I was just going to say, Skip, I didn't want to yesterday to get into a situation where Damar Hamlin was the issue. We should have been talking about him and not get into your tweet. That's what I was going to do. But you can't even let me finish my opening monologue without you interrupting.
Okay. I was under the impression you weren't going to bring this up because nobody here had a problem with that tweet.
No. Clearly, the bosses wanted you to offer explanation, so clearly somebody.
No, they did not have. Nobody.
Let's go, Jen.
And so, like I said, had this been a few weeks ago, before they had their big televised blow up, before Skip Bayless told Shannon Sharpe on national television that his 2 Super Bowl rings didn't mean nothing, that his Hall of Fame inductee didn't mean nothing, at least not in comparison with the great white hope Tom Brady, before he put Shannon in his place on national television and basically tried to buck break him, I believe Shannon would have had his back, despite everybody coming at Skip. I believe he would have had his back. And everybody's been kind of waiting to see what Shannon's going to do. Like I said, I believe Shannon Sharpe is a very calculated individual. You don't get that far in television, especially as a so-called black man, without having a level of calculation to you. And so I believe Shannon Sharpe was biding his time and saw the perfect opportunity to come on television and really try to stick it on Skip. He didn't even come hard at Skip. It was a light check. He said, I would have hoped that Skip would have taken it down. I wanted him to take it down, but, he didn't do that. Skip couldn't even let him finish his monologue. Skip was like, how dare you chastise me on my own show? Skip wasn't even going to let him get another word out. He's like, no, you're not about to chastise me. I'll put you in your place again. And this is where you have to have a level of respect for the so-called white man. Skip would rather lose his show, lose his entire fan base, than be G-checked by you-know-what on national television. This is why you have to kind of tip your hat and have a level of respect for somebody that's willing to go that far for respect. Even though he probably won't get suspended for not taking his tweet down, and he probably won't lose his show for taking his tweet down, he's willing to risk it all before he lets a so-called black man check him on national television. And I'm sure in Skip Bayless's mind right now, why is everybody ganging up on me now? Why am I getting this amount of heat right now? I've said way much worse. In his mind, I'm pretty sure he's like, man, I've said way much worse than this. Why is everybody ganging up on me now? Well, Skip, I'll tell you why. This is the perfect opportunity. It seems like black people are finally getting on code and finally taking a page out of the playbook in the dominant society. Pretty much the same thing they did to our brother Kyrie Irving a few months back. All Kyrie Irving did was post a tweet about a documentary, but they were able to use that and leverage that to punish him. And they had very little to do about punishing Kyrie Irving for a documentary that you could buy on Amazon. It had very little to do with that, but it had everything to do with Kyrie Irving not taking a jab, and that Kyrie Irving was due close to $20 million in back pay. That's what it had to do with. As insensitive as this was, it's not something the so-called black men and women are not used to, but it's the perfect opportunity to punish somebody like Skip Bayless, who doesn't have a good track record. And let Skip Bayless tell it, according to him, he would say that he has a good track record with the so-called black man and black woman. He talks about liberal black issues on his show. He has guests on like Lil Wayne, and I think Lil Wayne even gave him a chain that he wears on Fridays with his little turtleneck. He's got a co-host that he brought in Shannon Sharp. Let Skip tell it, he will consider himself an ally of the so-called black man and black woman. And that couldn't be further from the truth. Skip is nothing more than an opportunist. He's been capitalizing off the so-called black man and black woman for his entire career. And it's pretty evident by what Steven Jackson alluded to in the beginning of the video that I posted the other day. If this same scenario played out on Sunday night, but instead of it being a black player, it was Tom Brady. It was white Jesus, as I refer to him. Instead of one stretcher, they would have needed two stretchers. Skip Bayless would have had to been admitted to the hospital that night as well. It would have been nothing but concern. All those tweets that he sent out, when's the game going to start back and things like that, instead of tweeting about that, the only tweets that we would have seen from Skip Bayless were tweets of concern. Because when it comes down to it, people like Skip Bayless don't see us the same. And I'm not even going to judge individuals. It may not even be on a conscious level. It may be on a subconscious level. And I'm pretty sure it is for people like him. But nevertheless, the fact remains, they don't see us the same. When it comes to one of us being seriously and critically injured, the show must go on. Next man up. Basically, we're replaceable. We're expendable. And Skip Bayless has gotten away with a lot for so long because he thinks he's somebody that has a hood pass or somebody that has been invited to the cookout because he's spoken up at times when it comes to black issues. So-called liberal people like him are never going to be revolutionary when it comes to that. They're always going to toe that line. Yeah, they'll speak out on a George Floyd when they see somebody's neck being nailed on. They'll speak out on issues like that. Issues where it's black and white, they'll definitely speak out on that. They'll speak out on a Trayvon Martin. Issues like that, they'll ride with the so-called black community. But they're never going to say the so-called black man and woman deserves reparations tomorrow. They're never going to say anything revolutionary. It's always going to be something that's going to be somewhat politically correct and the right thing to say for the times. But it's not going to be something that's going to be beneficial for the so-called black community. They're always going to stay on code. And Skip Bayless is somebody that'll bring in a Lil Wayne and try to elevate him on the show and turn him into something that he's not. Lil Wayne has never been a spokesman for black society. People like Lil Wayne have been a pariah on black society and a cancer when it comes to the so-called black man and black woman. And Skip Bayless knows exactly who Lil Wayne is, which is why he'll bring him in on certain topics and have him give his 2 cents as if he represents the so-called black community. He knows that Lil Wayne is all about self and all about money, and he could give a damn about the so-called black community.
I remember one time I saw you after you had done a concert, I think it was in Westchester. But I asked you what the racial breakdown was of your audience. Do you remember this? And you told me the only black face you could see in the whole audience was your makeup artist. I believe that's what you said, and she was in the front row, right? Explain that. What does that say to you? What's the message of it? What's the bigger picture of it?
I thought that was clearly a message that there was no such thing as racism. That's what I thought that was.
And so, like I said, Skip Bayless knows exactly what he was doing as far as bringing Lil Wayne on. It seems like everybody's getting on code when it comes to Skip Bayless. I highly doubt that they're going to take away his show or they're going to suspend him for any length of time. If nothing else, he'll probably come on television and make a heartfelt, deep, sincere, so-called apology. But at the end of the day, he'll still be there. But if nothing else, I think he's going to be on a very short leash when it comes to the so-called black man and black woman. And so definitely let me know what you guys think in the comment section. And as usual, peace and chaos.